How's it going, guys? Here we are with the Simp Draft League, Season 3, Week 2. I'm the coach of the 50 Sabores, and we will be going against the Boston Red Sox. Now, unfortunately, my opponent in Week 1 suffered a pretty heavy loss. He got swept because of the terrestrialized Pokemon, and pretty much all of his fast Pokemon were fatigued. All of his Pokemon base 100 speed were fatigued. So he's very limited in what he can bring. Another thing to consider is that I have to be careful with what I bring so that I have good Pokemon for week 3. There's certain Pokemon that I want to do well in the MVP race so that they can participate in the mid-season All-Star battle, and I sort of have to optimize which week I bring them in, so to speak. So I had to take a lot of things into account when creating this team, and I think I like what I came up with. So yeah, let's get right into it. First up, we have Corviknight. This is going to pretty much our singular defensive answer at Ursaluna. Ursaluna is insanely scary. Is extremely powerful. It has access to guts. Pretty bulky. It can swords dance. It can bulk up. This thing is a monster, and I had to basically dedicate half my team to it. Um, an Adamant Guts Facade deals 34 to 40 to us, which spikes up to 46 to 54 if it manages to terrestrialize. This is an 8% to 2-hit KO, 8% chance to 2-hit KOS after leftovers recovery, which is not the greatest, but I think they're odds I'm willing to ride on if I have to. I don't think it's worth it to try to outspeed. I think I absolutely need the bulk. I definitely can make sure that I always outspeed it if I want to, but I think it's going to take away too much for my survivability. This Pokemon is way too threatening for me to run anything less than strict max bulk. He needs 136 speed EVs anyway to speed time me if he's adamant. So I just put in 8 speed EVs anyway, just maybe to try to dodge a speed creep. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I think I'm 8 EVs is I'm willing to spend that. If it's anything more than that, I think is too much. We do have a roost, which is kind of risky. If he clicks Earthquake as I roost, that's really bad. It's basically guaranteed to one shot me. I could bring something like Shookaberry, which would be really hilarious, but I think I absolutely need leftovers. Another option I considered was Covert Cloak, to make me immune to the secondary effect of Garganical Salt Cure. But I think I absolutely need leftovers. I can't get around it. Iron Defense helps our survivability versus Ursaluna, and it also gives us some sweep potential. It's pretty good into Revavroom, Darkspun, maybe Wochien, and Pincurchin if I can get it set up at least. Um, Darkspun I think is also pretty good to set up against. We're weak to Fire Fang, and we could get burned by it, but I think if we have to, then I think we'll be fine. Ideally, we can set up against Revavroom. Its best move against us is Overheat, which is completely going to bounce off, especially with the special attack drop it brings. We have Defog to remove hazards. As far as hazards go, he could have Toxic Spikes from Revavroom or Pincurchin. Stealth Rock could be from Garganical, and he could have Spikes on Pincurchin. Unfortunately, bringing Corviknight this week will fatigue it, and it does make me weaker to Haxorus next week. I don't really have much of a choice. Ursaluna is so insanely strong that I'm kind of forced to bring this against it. This is the only defensive check I have at all, and I don't want to sack something every time it comes in, basically. Next up, we have Basculin. This is sort of an offensive check to Ursaluna. We're bringing Choice Specs adaptability. It makes us really strong. Unfortunately, if Ursaluna terrestrializes, it will live Specs Hydro Pump. Still takes a lot of damage though. It'll take 67 to 80% if it's terrestrialized into a normal type. Um, Head Smash is on here so that we're not completely walled by Slowking. It's just a very fringe option. I've been bouncing between what to put in this move slot for a long time. At first it was Mud Slap to hit a Revavroom, then it changed to Chilling Water as a sort of half memento option, where if I know I'm gonna faint, I might as well get a Chilling Water off. Um, but I think Head Smash is the best play. I don't think I'm ever going to be clicking Chilling Water, to be honest. Most of the time, if I think I'm going to faint, I could also just click Hydro Pump for the KO anyway. So I think Head Smash is better here. It just means that we're not completely walled by Slowking. Slowking completely switches in on us super easily. The only thing it really fears is Crunch, but we're not running Crunch. The idea behind this is if we don't need to terrestrialize anything else, We can Terastallize into a rock type and then get an adaptability boost on Head Smash, and it's going to do a huge amount. It's going to take like 65 to 77 to a max HP Slowking. The downside is we lose half of our health. I think we lose like 49% of our health from recoil minimum. Um, we are blue striped to bluff Rockhead, but we are actually adaptability. This also deals 43 to 51 to a max HP Wo-Chien, which is something to consider, but I don't really see myself looking into it too much. And a fully specially defensive Garganical is barely one shot by a Specs Hydro Pump, which is something I should remember. We also have Ice Beam. This is barring Head Smash. This is pretty much our best move versus Wo-Chien. Deals a little bit over a third. It's not a lot, but it's kind of like the hardest I can do without like committing to like self-sacrifice with Head Smash, basically. If it's low health, I can pick up the KO with it, which is like something to remember. And then lastly, Aqua Jet is an option to pick off low HP Pokemon or some Scarfers. We're slower than offensive Tauros, but Aqua Jet does over a third to it anyway, so I'm not really that concerned. Um, and yeah, and then I just put like my leftover HPs in attack basically. Um, and yeah, that's Basculin. Next up is Grafaiai. This is going to be an interesting debuff option into Ursaluna. We can use Prankster Parting Shot to lower its attack, and then we can instantly switch into Corviknight on the Facade or the Earthquake. And this will basically give Corviknight an easier time handling it. Basically, Corviknight, Basculin, and Grafaiai are supposed to work together to handle Ursaluna. If it decides to go for a Swords Dance or a Bulk Up, we can use Encore to lock it in, which gives us more free turns to switch into Corviknight, basically. Or even if it decides to stay in, we could go for the low kick if it's low enough, depending on. But yeah, so Gunk Shot is an option to hit either Doxbun or Wo-Chien. This was originally Sludge Bomb, because Doxbun has a higher defense than special defense, and I'm expecting it to be like defensive investment to like max out the damage on Body Press. But I think overall Gunk Shot is better. This was originally going to be a mixed set, but I think going full into the physical is better. I think it spends too much EVs in the special attack. Um, it's always a 2-hit KO, like so I don't think it matters too much. I was actually really surprised to learn that Doxfun doesn't get any moves like Iron Defense to boost its body press. Basically, as long as I don't use a fire move, I don't think I need to worry about its boosts, and I don't have any fire moves on this entire team, so I really don't have to worry about well-baked body or anything like that. Gunk Shot is going to be miles better versus Wo-Chien compared to Sludge Bomb. Even with its Tablets of Ruin ability, which lowers my attack, it's still a 2-hit KO on most variants with leftovers. And then we have Low Kick as a surprise option to finish off Ursaluna. It deals 43 to 51 to a max HP set, and it can lead to a surprise KO if I can sort of get in the habit of like cycling parting shots. Once it's in range, I can just fire off a low kick to finish it basically. So he might be expecting me to go for a parting shot again to like debuff it more, but if it's low enough, then I'll instead go for a low kick to like surprise finish it off. If it has Choppleberry or something like that, I might regret it, but if it is Choppleberry, that means it's not going to have Flame Orb anymore. And Low Kick is also a decent option at a Garganical. An unboosted Careful Garganical takes 42 to 49 from Low Kick, which is really not enough to be significant or reliable because it heals all of that completely with Recover, but it's still like nice if it's like low enough and I can catch it off guard. It's not that great against Room due to its filter ability, but it's still a nice option to have. It's in range. It does like close to a third to it. And then we have Focus Sash, which just to make sure that we always live a hit from full. We're quite frail. 63, 65, 72 is not good bulk at all. So we're like really frail, which is why we have the Focus Sash item. And then 176 speed EVs with a naive nature. Actually, this should be Jolly. Because we're not running Sludge Bomb anymore. But anyways, this makes us outspeed any Tauros, is the point. Next up, we have Regidrago. He's back, baby, back for another round. This is, like I said before, this thing is an extremely potent special sweeper. Dragon Energy will just hopefully completely mow him down. That's the idea, at least. This one-shots all Tauros and all Pink Urchin. It does 85 to 99 to Revavroom, which is like hilarious because it's resisted. It's a 2-hit KO on full specially defensive Wo-Chien or Garganical or Slowking. And it's a roll in my favor to Oko max HP Ursaluna. This is all like assuming like max health. Terra Blast helps us to break their Doxbun. we have the Wise Glasses item to let us OHKO a max HP set. We could run Metal Coat, but it's not going to change much. Like it's still going to be a one shot. An Expert Belt isn't really that useful because nothing on this team is weak to Dragon. It would again only really be boosting Terra Blast, and Earth Power, which doesn't matter because it OHKO this target anyway. Um, I could also go Dragon Fang, but I kind of wanted a power boost on Terra Blast, so I figured that like this Wise Glasses gives enough of a power boost that I need on Terra Blast, but it also slightly boosts the rest of my moves more. So I think that Wise Glasses is the optimal item for this reason. Um, so yeah, I could go. Oh yeah, okay, sorry. Terra Blast is also enough to 2 KO Garganical, but Dragon Energy is hilariously still stronger, so I'm gonna be preferring that instead, like depending on my health. Earth Power is for Revavroom. It's an easy one-hit KO, even with the filter ability, so that's why I'm not going with like Expert Belt or anything like that. It still OHKOs. Dragon Energy does a massive amount, and it's good to like break a possible air balloon maybe. And then we have 164 speed EVs to outspeed a zero speed Tauros. The reason why I wanted to hit this benchmark is because he could go for like a full physically defensive set with Will-O-Wisp and Body Press. And I just wanted to make sure that I'm faster than at least that. And this also outspeeds any Ursaluna, which is really good. Next up, we have Slowking. This is going to be our main defensive Tauros switch in. This can handle like a more offensive variant of Tauros. So like this can handle Rage Dragon can handle a defensive variant. Slowking is able to handle an offensive variant. Our defensive investment means that even an Adamant Earthquake is not a 2-hit KO, and only one roll from Raging Bull deals more damage than Regenerator will heal, which is good. And then we just put the leftover EVs. We have just enough leftover EVs to go into special attack, which means that we can OHKO back with Psychic. If it happens to have 4 special defense EVs, then it will survive only a bare minimum roll, which I don't think it's going to happen. We have Sludge Bomb for Doxbun. It's a 2-hit KO on every single non-Assault Vest set, and it's also our strongest option into Wo Chien. It deals over a third to it. The problem with clicking Sludge Bomb on Wo Chien is we're risking getting knocked off. If I'm expecting Wo Chien to come in, I'd rather click Toxic instead, I think. This move slot was also kind of tricky for me to decide on. Flamethrower, I think, is bad because it risks Doxbun proccing Well-Baked Body. And it's the same damage into Revavroom as Psychic, thanks to its filter ability. Like, it'll weaken it enough to, like, that they do the same amount of damage. Future Sight is also an option to sort of pressure switches and maybe even convince Wo-Chien to enter, and then I can get something else in on it to, like, punish that. I also genuinely considered Eerie Spell as an option. If you don't know what Eerie Spell does, it basically removes 3 PP from the target's last move. And the idea behind Eerie Spell was to reduce Garganical's recover PP, basically, because it only maxes out at 8 now, and then I could use Eerie Spell to sort of burn that faster. That was a thought I had. I think Toxic is better. It's good into Wo Chien, it's good into Slowking. Um, we have to remember that we can't Toxic Garganical, though, because of its Purifying Salt ability. Heavy Duty Boots gives us a hazard immunity. All of my Tauros calcs, which is like right on the edge, they all assume no hazards. And I don't think that's going to be the case. And I don't think I need leftovers or like a berry or something. So I decided that Heavy Duty Boots is optimal here. Chilly Reception is going to be the only pivoting move that Slowking can learn. Slowking and Galarian Slowking both don't have access to teleport in this format. Slowpoke only got it through a Gen 1 or Let's Go Pikachu and EVTM, and that's the only way that Slowking could learn it normally. It's basically a transfer from a Gen 1 game. And Galarian Slowking actually could never learn it at all. It only got Chilly Reception. In Paldea decks, Ralts is the only family that can learn it. Anyways, we have a relaxed nature with 0 speed IVs, which maximizes our chance of getting a Chilly Reception last versus Slowking. So the idea is when it's a Slowking versus Slowking, I want his, if we both click Chilly Reception, I want his to go first so that I can react to what he switches into, and then I can get more momentum back. I could also go Iron Ball or Lagging Tail, but I think I want Heavy Duty Boots more. And I also want to be faster than Pincurchin, which is um, why I decided to go with Heavy Duty Boots, basically. Electros is going to be our offensive looking answer. We're physical leaning. to better handle Slowking because Slowking has 80 defense versus 110 special defense. Thunder Punch does 69 to 82 to a special defense Slowking, and it's a roll strongly in my favor to 2-hit KO a physically defensive Slowking. We have Assault Vest to take hits from Slowking better. We are limited by a unfortunate lack of recovery. There's really nothing convenient to Drain Punch, so I don't have that move. Oh, this is wrong. This is supposed to be Heavy Slam, which I will get into later. It does nothing to Wo Chen. Drain Punch does nothing to Wo Chen or Ursaluna. It's risky, and it's a risky play to Drain Punch Ursaluna if it has speed, because both of us are base 50 speed, I think. No more Scald in the game means we don't have to worry about burns, so we don't have to worry about Slowking burning us. The Slowking could have Chilling Water, though, which could be annoying, but we still 2-hit KO, especially defensive bulking Slowking after a Chilling Water. I thought about running Clear Amulet on this thing to block us from the Chilling Water attack drop, but I think I need Assault Vest to survive like enough hits. If Slowking decides to Chilly Reception to switch out, we might be able to pivot out with the U-turn, which is why we have that move. And the reason why I went for U-turn over Volt Switch is because it lets us 2-hit KO Wo Chen. Because it's a Grass and Dark type, it's quad weak to Bug. That's why I went for U-turn. Stomping Tantrum lets us hit Revorum and Pink Urchin. Unfortunately, we don't get a boost from Electric Terrain because we're levitating. It does a huge amount to Revorum, Stomping Tantrum. The only reason why we don't one-hit KO it is because of Filter. And then we have Heavy Slam for Dockspun. This was initially Flash Cannon, like you saw. So it was basically meant to be a surprise option to hit it specially, but it required way too much investment for it to be worth it because I would have to invest into special attack, and then because I didn't want a special attack reducing nature and I didn't want to reduce my defense or special defense, I would have to reduce my speed, and then I would have to invest a lot into speed to hit the same speed benchmark, and then it's just yucky, not worth it. It's way more worth it to just invest a little bit more into attack to hit the same benchmark with Heavy Slam, and then to just go put the rest of that into bulk, basically. But yeah, we have enough offensive investment to 2-hit KO max HP Dockspun with Heavy Slam. And then we have a bulk investment, which lets us live 3 Psyshocks or 4 Psychics from an uninvested Slowking. This also lets us barely live 3 Future Sights. So yeah, that's the team. Let me know what you guys think, and hopefully we can pull out a W with it. That's about it. See you guys.